The Avs lead the NHL. Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, live from the Xfinity Studio and presented by Bet365. AJ and Rudo coming to you on the first day of the Olympic break, at least for the Avs. The NHL technically's last day is today. There are some games going on tonight, but there's enough done that we figured we can check in and see where the Avs stand 55 games into the season at the Olympic break. We'll get into all of that, but did want to start with some hockey news things. We didn't really have time to get to it yesterday because there was a game. Artemi Panarin to L.A. Neat?
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
We always hear so much about like Dallas and Tampa Bay and Florida and I guess even Colorado. Carolina is always involved in these things. And then Los Angeles, and you're like, really? I mean, I know the Pacific sucks. that has to make it easier because right now, LA, I think today's the last day before the break. LA at the moment is 3 points out of the second wild card spot.
Mm-hmm.
And they're on a 4-2-4 stretch.
Yep. So
they're not out of it, but they're also not like trending in a great direction.
Yeah. There's a couple of factors here. One, Panarin had a full NMC, so like he wanted to go here. It's not like he got traded to LA against his will.
Right.
Two, there was an extension involved, 2 more years at $11 million, which perhaps eliminated some teams like a Colorado because realistically Colorado has had other bigger contracts coming up that they have to deal with in the next 2 years. But it still doesn't seem like LA was necessarily the landing spot of a guy trying to go win another cup.
Or a cup?
Yeah, another cup for Panarin. He got one in Chicago.
But, I mean, I appreciate that LA is like trying to make the most of Anze Kopitar's last year. But like, now all of their good money is tied up on the wing. Yeah. Because they're when Kopitar goes, their best forwards are going to be Fiala, Panarin, and Kempe.
Yep.
And maybe I'm just being a Quentin Byfield hater, but like Kopitar's going to retire. They traded Phil Deneau.
Yep. They blew themselves up down the middle, basically.
Right. Like that center depth that we had talked about for so long as being one of the big strengths of that team is now not great. It's not great. And defensively, it's not like that's gotten much better. Drew Doughty hasn't been good in a month and a half. Cody Ceci, Brian Dumoulin, Joel Edmondson, these guys are all bad players now. Like varying degrees of bad players.
You just rattle off a bunch of guys north of 30, and Kopitar is going to retire, and you replace him with Panarin, who's a guy on the back 9 of his career for sure. Like,
yeah, he's 34 years old, and he's a left wing.
Right.
I appreciate that they're going for it. I appreciate that they're not just kicking the can down the road, and that they're saying, "Look, we're not throwing Kopi's last year into the trash. We're going to try, especially in a bad division. We're going to try." Like, kudos. I do appreciate that there's a GM out there saying, well, we're not in the top 3 of our division right now, so I want to be careful. And also just the cost of it wasn't...
Yeah, not exorbitant.
Like, Liam Greentree is a solid prospect.
If you say so.
And a conditional 3rd, and I think it's a conditional 4th. Like, if they win 2 rounds, they get a 4th round pick.
One of the 3rd becomes a 2nd. I don't know about the other condition.
Yeah, so I think it was the third becomes the second if they win one round, and then that's where they're at. They're they haven't beaten Edmonton,
Right?
They're just like, if we beat those guys, we'll give you a better. We're just trying to get past those guys.
Yep.
But no, I really do. It was such an interesting fit when the news came out that it was LA, and it was like, what? This made way more sense for Tampa Bay. And then you do think about the contract extension, his desire to go to a place where he was going to sign an extension. He didn't want to go to a rental spot. He didn't want to move twice. He had said moving once is better than moving twice.
Yeah.
That took teams like Colorado and Carolina out of it. But a fascinating, like, they're going for it. And I don't think any other team out west went, oh no. Like, had he gone to Dallas or he'd gone to Minnesota,
that's a problem.
We all would have been like, oh, jeez. But I think him going to LA, we were all kind of like, okay. Like, maybe this helps get them out of the first round. Like,
anytime a team, and you said it, the Pacific sucks. It wouldn't be a far shot for LA to get into the playoffs. But anytime a team not in the playoff spot is buying, it's just going to be less scary than a team who's locked into the playoffs and is buying to make a deep run in the playoffs, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. To be honest, I'm happy it happened just so we don't have to talk about it all Olympic break and how the Avs don't make sense as a landing place for Panarin as much as anything else. But is the case that Panarin is off the board. And I wanted to kind of spring off of that and ask you, AJ, are you a little surprised more didn't happen before the Olympic break? I know they have the 10 days or whatever it is until the deadline on the other side of it, but it did feel like somewhat the Olympic break was sort of a deadline Spurs action type of moment, and the NHL didn't really do a ton.
Yeah. I was really surprised, and frankly, I was surprised Colorado sat still. We had people here at the house yesterday working, and I couldn't get to my desk, and so I was like antsy the whole time. I was like, please,
something's going to happen.
Don't do this. Don't do this. Like, just wait until they leave, and then we can do whatever we need to do, and it's fine. And then nothing happened, and it was just like, okay, I guess that's fine. Yeah. I was surprised, honestly. I've been hammering that the Avs wanted they needed to really get ahead of the market. They don't need to be reacting to it. They should just, these are the guys that we really like. These are the guys that, because right now everybody's still on the board. That's not Artemi Panarin, and I guess Nick Bukestad.
Oh,
that was a weird move, but okay, fine. Don't think that was going to impact the Avalanche. So
unlikely.
I'm good with it. But that's, I am surprised. Yes. I know that we've talked a lot about how we might see kind of a dud of a deadline.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be the trade deadline. I can't believe I left that there.
Whiff.
I'm so annoyed with myself. I'm just using it. We think it could be a trade deadline because
set up the clip. Yeah.
Yeah. The teams. Yes. The teams are so compressed in the standings still that there's not a ton of separation.
Sure.
The teams that you really, really think might have fallen out of it are like the Rangers, the Devils, the Flyers. Even the Senators and Panthers, you don't feel great about. They are 8 spots. They're 8 points back.
Senators feel pretty out of it, man. But
it's the volatility of the teams at the bottom there that I don't trust.
Sure.
And it's the only reason I'm not sitting here going, they're out of it.
Sure.
Because I don't really trust Boston. I don't really trust Buffalo. But you do, like it's just a really blah group.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those teams, and with Tampa Bay not loading up and adding Panarin, all of those teams could look at it and say, if we get in, we think we can make noise. We think we can be a problem.
Not enough
I think
sellers.
It's a little different out west. I think out west is a little bit of a different
line is
story.
Pretty clear cut, yeah.
Yeah, and because it still runs through Colorado. I know Avalanche fans are like uneasy about the fact that it's dropped. Yeah. But yes, I know that is a big part of what we're talking about today. But I think certainly out east, it's like you can cut several of these teams. And the only reason that you're really not cutting Florida is because you're like, They're the 2-time defending champs. Right. They're going to do something crazy. They're going to do what they can to really go for the three-peat. They're not just going to kick it down the road and say, well, no Barkov, we'll see you next year. You know, like it just... And all of this is to say, without the sellers, the clear-cut sellers there,
yeah,
where do you go? And the Rangers I think are a really important seller. The Flyers, I don't think are going to do a whole lot. We've heard what PHLY's Charlie O'Connor has said about it, where
a lot of they like their guys' energy. Yeah,
yeah, like they don't think that they're going to be super active. The Devils, I think, are a real keystone next to the Rangers. What are they going to do? Because this isn't working. It continues to not work, and they've got some intriguing pieces. They've become one of my main, I'm spending my free time watching video of several of their guys, trying to figure out who might be a good fit here. There are a few. They exist. There are a few guys there. I tend to agree with you. I think Ottawa's out of it, but I just am they've been such a solid underlying team that if they just get any kind of goaltending, they could get hot, and my lack of trust of the teams in front of them makes me wonder. But 8 points is a lot to overcome.
The thing about Ottawa, too, is outside of Giroux, their core isn't really all that old. That's not a team that's we got to get rid of guys. That's a core that should be stepping into its playoff window with the guys that they have and not selling off pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a team going to go for Nick Jensen? I could see a team that, but he's been on such a downturn that,
yeah,
just poor play has pretty much tanked his own value.
Yeah.
So they are in a certain, and you look at a team like Washington, we're in this weird, the end of the OV era.
Yeah.
They're still trying to figure it out with some of their young guys. I'm just going to keep banging the drum for Hendrix Lapierre.
I always liked him.
This is really, I understand it's a summer conversation. I'm just telling y'all.
This is basically summer in February.
Yeah. Oh boy, I could use some of that weather, man. I'm really tired of the snow.
Dude, come out here. It's
New England sucks, brother.
60 all week.
Why didn't anybody tell me? It really is a fascinating, what do these teams have that you would even want? You even look at Philadelphia. So it really is you go team by team, and you're the teams that have guys that I actually would have an interest in are all in playoff spots.
Yep.
Probably because they have the guys that I would have an interest in.
Yep.
There's no surprise that there's a direct line there, right?
Well,
but yeah, go ahead.
You look at the Avs specifically there, right? And the Avs have pretty specific targeted needs when we talk about what they're looking at this trade deadline. This is not a team that is necessarily just saying, we're trying to generally get better. No, they need a 3C and they need a left-handed D. Pretty clearly anything else, unless it's just a steal of a deal, the Avs are going to have a hard time fitting that in.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're going to have to pay for somebody who, their trade assets are they have basically no real problem. Nabokov and Gulyev are fine prospects. I don't really know where I would rank them at this point. Gulyev's had such a weird year in the KHL.
Yeah, it's been rough.
What do you even, and frankly, Nabokov too, where it's
not as bad as Gulyev's, but yeah.
Yeah, and with Nabokov's, you are looking at it does he have some senioritis here?
Right. He knows he's going to the States at the end of the year.
He's got the contract. Yeah. He knows he's coming to North America. Gulyev's in a different situation. But anyway, I from the Avalanche perspective, it is very targeted needs. Their trade assets aren't great, which makes me be just don't nibble around the edges. Do something. Let's overpay for a guy.
You're going to solve a problem. Yeah.
Right. 2 first-round picks. Go and get a dude that can help you for years to come, and you're just not worrying about it. I don't care about this. I don't care about the picks. You look at how Tampa Bay has operated. For me, it is a masterclass in how to operate as a cup contender in that era of your organization, in that window. That is how you should be operating.
Well, look, in a completely selfish scenario where I matter at all, every year the Avs don't have a top 100 pick is a year I don't have to care about the draft. So.
Testify. I like the draft. It is fun.
Me too, but
it does suck when they don't have a first rounder, or they have a first rounder and then they don't pick again until the 5th, where you're just like, all right, I care about this one guy. Like, I don't know. I'm fine where they're at now. This year is like the perfect draft class for us. We get to overhype and overcare and make lots of jokes for an entire year about how many 7th round picks that they have. That rocks.
Yeah, jokes like, don't call Gavin McKenna's mom names. We do need to take our first break of the show.
I mean, don't do that.
Let's shout out a few of our sponsors. The official vehicle of DNVR is Toyota. Go get yourself into Toyota. They have a vehicle for everyone, from trucks that have been in their DNA for generations to SUVs like the RAV4 or the Land Cruiser, or sedans, hatchbacks, crossovers, whatever you might want. Toyota has you covered with 17 different models that have all-wheel or four-wheel drive available. So if you like actual control on the roads, or if you just want to go off-roading and have some fun, they even have you there. They also offer more low and zero emission vehicles than any other automaker. When you combine the two, 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like a Tundra iForce Max. Yes, they even have hybrid trucks to choose from. So go get to your Front Range Toyota stores today, including AutoNation Toyota Rapid Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevens Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevens Toyota West in Lakewood. Again, Toyota, not just the official vehicle of DNVR, but they're the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche too. Even when the Avs are on break, Toyota still gets you to where you want to go. Toyota, let's go places. And once you've got yourself into a Toyota, you're also going to want to make sure you're taking care of your internet at home with Xfinity. You can lock in the 5-year price guarantee with Xfinity today. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi, and what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That is exactly what the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee is. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. You can even stream the game while the whole family is online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. A lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. You can learn more at xfinity.com. Of course, select plans only, restrictions apply. Head over to xfinity.com today for more info. Xfinity, imagine that. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Did want to wrap up the news with Olympic hockey. Technically did get underway today. The women's stuff started. USA beat Czechia 5-1, so America off to a good start. Not as good of news. Apparently, the Finnish women's team has an outbreak of norovirus. So another thing making it hard to play hockey at this Olympics. Is this Olympics just a little cursed?
It kind of feels like it.
Yeah.
All the rink problems, and then they get there and they're like, all right, the women's tournament is beginning. Oh, one of the teams can't participate for the next week.
Right. It's tough.
Yeah, it feels a little cursed, man.
I was watching the Italy-France game, and that stadium setup is so weird. Like, obviously the stadium's awkward. Well, the stadium's unfinished, but then like I turned it on before the game started, and they're like, they have the players and the goaltenders like riding a golf cart from their external locker room into the stadium. Like, it was just a very weird setup. I don't know.
It looks, the whole thing looks awkward.
Yeah. Agreed.
It kind of reminds me of when the Islanders were in Brooklyn and everyone was just like, this wasn't meant for this, except this was meant for it.
Specifically built, like.
Yeah. Poorly. Yeah. I haven't gotten a chance to really sit down and like really like dig into it yet. dig into the Olympics.
Sure.
I was just trying to get through this week of like Av stuff.
Brother, same.
and then it was like, all right, 4 a.m. curling. I'm gonna set my alarm. That girlfriend's gonna be mad. And like, this will be cool.
Yeah, it's technically the opening ceremonies aren't even until tomorrow, so it's very early stages. But get ready for a lot of Olympic coverage because that's where the fun hockey's going to be at. Jump on that. We can move beyond the news. AJ, you sent me the new AFP contract predictions earlier today. There's one interesting one specifically for the Avs that I want to get into, and that's Jack Drury, who they have projected at a 3-year deal at $2.375 million. Would you sign that today?
Yes.
Okay. So would I.
Easily. I was worried it's going to be more like 4.
Yeah.
I think I've really been like bracing for 3.5.
Ooh, I think I'd have done 3. 3.5 would hurt a little bit.
To me, that tells you
that's where you should be at. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
But it is like he's got 19 points right now. He's got 8 goals. His next goal,
Career high.
There was one. Yeah, will be a career high. You just really would love to get him to 10. Like if you could just get him to. It's probably ambitious to get him to 30 points. It's probably ambitious to get him to 10 goals, 20 assists. But if you could do that, like I have absolutely no problem with that deal.
Yeah, same.
He's been wonderful in faceoffs. He's been solid defensively. He's a little overrated on the PK. He's not as good a PK guy as I would like, but he's good. Like he's good at it. It's not like he's a bum.
He's got to win faceoffs as much as anything else. Like.
Yeah, and man, is that ever important. And no, he's a solid player. He's really smart.
Yep.
It is frustrating to watch how many good scoring chances he just boofs because like he just straight up runs out of the talent, to quote you.
He's got the Matt Nieto in him for sure.
Yeah. Where you're like, oh man, you know where to be and you can get there and you understand, and then you completely fall apart when it comes time to shine.
Yep.
Like, He's a good connector.
Yeah.
He's a really good connector.
Way to put it.
He can't be the guy.
Yep. Which is the thing is I think the role that the Avalanche have him in, which is less of a 4C and more of a 3BC or whatever you want to call it, it fits perfectly to get the most out of him.
Yeah. And frankly, if you had 2 Jack Drury's, you'd be really comfortable with that.
Sure.
You'd be good. You'd be cost efficient. And you'd be your 3rd or 4th line. You would be indistinguishable. You'd feel really good.
Yep.
As long as like it does create he needs to be surrounded by the right kind of guy problem.
True.
But that's fine. Go and get those guys. And frankly, they've got them. They're fine there.
Yeah.
I'm
depth is solid.
not too. Like that, I saw that was the first when I had sent that to you. That was the first contract I went and looked up was Jack Drury. Second being Sam Malinsky because I just wanted to know what they had it for, which was 3x4, by the way,
which is close enough.
Yeah, well, and like you add the extra year, cap continues to go up. You're okay. That's fine. It's right in the neighborhood of what a 4-year deal would have been on that projection.
Yep.
But with Drury, that number is completely fine with me. If they were to add another center and make him the actual 4C, he becomes a little expensive as a true 4C. But as like a 3-4 kind of moves around in your lineup a little bit, that's a really good number.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. If the Avs end up signing him for $3 million or more, I think he's probably an expensive 4C. But we're just seeing every market in the NHL as far as like, oh, this is what you pay this level of hockey player is pretty rapidly increasing because of the recent cap demands of, or rather cap increases in the NHL to where a guy that used to be a 1.5 million type guy is now a 2.5 million type guy. That's just the inevitable creep of the salary cap coming into play. So We may not be that far away from fourth liners regularly making $2 million plus.
Yeah, that's still a really tough sell for me. I mean, we saw even last summer there was an explosion in the cap with the money. Everybody had money to spend, right? Which is why so many guys are re-signing now. But you also saw the bottom end of like the Victor Olofssons, like Joel Kivirantas, like those deals are still going to get through.
I mean, efficiency is still efficiency. Yeah,
it's still a huge part of this because you look at Victor Olofsson, for example. What is his projection? $4 million.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I'm not paying $4 million. Whoever does is stepping on a landmine.
Yep.
I'm not doing that, man.
At under 2, he's a great deal. At $4 million, boy, would you have some issues with his play.
I would probably, that's one where you go, where am I maxing out? Like, I'm uncomfortable, but I'll still do it to keep the player. And for me, when it comes to Victor Olofsson, it's 2.5.
Yeah, for sure. No argument there.
And as I say that, immediately I go, maybe it's 2.25. Like,
so you do 2.5.
Yeah, exactly. Like at 2.5 where I just go, not even 2.5 no shot.
I'll slip him a tenner. It'll be fine.
Right. Like, I'll just give him the green. That'll be the straight up green handshake. I'll give him, here, there's your 10. There you go. Keep it off the books. Don't report this to the IRS.
The Avs are... Drury is the only real imminent contract that isn't like a big one, right? Like obviously your Kale is the big one on the horizon that you're like, this is the one we have to do no matter what.
Yeah, and at the moment these are contract projections for guys who expired this year.
Right, not 2 years down the line. But you could sign Kale on July 1st, technically.
Yeah. And at the end of the year, we will get all those projections will come out, and then I will spend all summer referencing them, just like I did last summer, because it's like, here's a model that is actually pretty good at this. It's got a good track record of success. These are important. I also think that it's really informative for any rentals that they trade for. Were you looking at it? You know, a guy that you and I have talked about quite a bit. We're going to talk about a whole lot more over the next 3 weeks when we have nothing else going on. It's Bobby McMahon.
Yep.
And you look at, like, you're trying to find the sweet spot here of what can you afford in trade? What can you afford in extension? What actually helps your team? What's a guy that can fit? Bobby McMahon's a great example of that.
Part of the point you're digging at here is Chris McFarland has kind of become the master of the rental that isn't actually a rental.
Yeah. Every year they acquire a guy and we're like, nah, he'll be gone in the summer. It's fine. And then
nope,
that guy comes back. We're like, okay, well, never mind.
Yeah. So the Avs have found I don't know if I would call it a weakness in the market or whatever you want to say, but they found success in bringing in guys on potentially expiring deals and finding ways to keep them.
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to say anyone's track record is perfect when it comes to those type of things, but
of course not. Miles Wood.
Yeah. For every Miles Wood, there's a Brock Nelson. So,
I mean, that was an off-season signing. It's totally against your point. I'm just like, that's the one move that they made where I'm like, from the second it happened, you were like, this isn't great.
We don't have to dig into necessarily the successes and failures of the Avs front office on today's show, but
yeah,
always something you need to be keeping your eye on is what's next for the Avs. So you'll hear more about that, and we have a mini pod coming up tomorrow a little bit about that, so I won't spoil it too much. Want to move into the Colorado Avalanche as a team this year, though. How can you not be happy if you look at the big picture?
Yeah, if you look at the last 15 games, you're like, I'm not thrilled.
So totally. They one game under 500 in their last 13 games, I think it is.
Yeah.
So there's not been a great stretch for them, but it has not been a great stretch for them that has left them, I don't know if comfortably is the right word, but certainly at the top of the NHL.
Yeah, they're uncomfortable because at the moment it is only a 5-point lead.
With 3 games in hand.
But that's the thing. Like, that's where Also, Minnesota's won 5 in a row and Dallas has won 6 in a row. The Avs haven't had a good 10-game stretch. Like, this is how it goes.
Yep.
When you're in the middle of the bad stretch and the other teams are in the good stretch, you feel terrible. Like, you're like, oh my God, this is going to continue forever.
Nope. I mean, or if it does, then the Avs have a disaster of a season. But
right. Like, then it's totally falling apart.
Also, you've lost 9 of 55 games in regulation.
In regulation, yeah.
You would take that at game 1 if you said you're going to lose 9 games in regulation of the first 55.
I know we're going to talk a lot more about standings, so I won't dig into this right now.
Sure.
But I feel very comfortable today. Same. I know I can look at the numbers and I can see, oh, it's 5 points. The game's in hand and all that, but I'm comfortable.
We'll get into it. We got to take our second break of the show first, so let's shout out a few more sponsors. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, and it's 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. It even powers the DNVR merch store, so get over there and pick up a shirt, whether it's the Nate Dogg or otherwise. That's powered by Shopify. Regardless of what your dreams were as a kid, when you grow up and want to start a business or a part of a business, Shopify is the best way to get yourself selling. It's better than a lot of the marketplace apps out there because they have lower fees, so that's a great place to start. But Shopify has you covered with much more than that, including website creation, product descriptions, emails, and social media marketing. More than that, too. They even have AI tools designed to help you maximize sales. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into... With Shopify on your side, sign up for $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's a $1 per month trial at shopify.com/allcity. Once you're all set up with Shopify, you're also going to want to make sure you're solid and secure on the home front. Unfortunately, emergencies do happen, and when they do, New Built Restoration and Construction will be there. New Built is a licensed general contractors who can help with any project, big or small, and they're available 24/7 and truly care about being there for their customers. They'll work with your insurance to make sure a stressful process is as smooth as possible if it does come down to that, and they offer a number of different services, including fire damage, water damage, mold removal, repair services, and they even work on commercial projects, so they have you covered there. Whatever it may be, New Built has you covered. They are true DNVR fans too. They're part of the circle of the family, so we're super excited to support their business the way they support us. When that home emergency hit New Built Restoration and Construction. They'll be there at newbuilt.com. That's NUBILT.com. Or you can call 720-903-4254 and let them know DNVR sent you. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by Bet365. Tiff, do we have those standings? Can we dive into this a little bit? You see the Avs 5-point lead there. At least Dallas and Minnesota are also done on their break, so they won't be changing anything today.
I was going to say, I actually wanted to go and look, but you already know that?
Yeah. I'm not sure about further down the division, but less important than Dallas and Minnesota, at least as far as the Avs are concerned. Yeah.
They are all done, actually. Just looking at it right now.
Cool. Easy.
Nashville plays today. Nashville's the only one.
Okay. So, neat. Good luck to Nashville. Avs have that 5-point lead. Avs have that 3 game in hand. Try not to be too optimistic. Try not to be too pessimistic. Let's say the Avs play those 3 games 500. You get 3 points out of it, and you actually have an 8-point lead. Is that enough to feel comfortable?
Yes.
Okay. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But it's actually kind of becoming an interesting dogfight in the Central Division, right? The Avs created that gap, and while they've given some of that back, they've been able to keep themselves kind of above the waterline in the sense of it feels a lot more like Dallas and Minnesota fighting each other for position than it does necessarily them chasing down Colorado. So I wonder where Dallas and Minnesota really stand necessarily as far as that is concerned.
Yeah, I have no read on Dallas.
Same, honest. That team makes no sense to me.
Like, their power play boosted up so much of their team. and then the rest of their team, it just felt really unsustainable. It felt really blah. And then they lost a bunch of games, and then they've been really good since then.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh no, they started scoring at 5v5. Now this is a real problem.
Right. They lost 8 of 10, some of those in overtime.
Yeah.
And now they remembered that 5-on-5 matters.
Yeah, and they've been really good, and you know that they're going to have a big ad somewhere along the line at the deadline. Like, you know that there's going to be more coming. They're not just going to let money sit there.
Yep,
of
course.
Sagan money isn't just going to go to waste.
Yeah.
It's Minnesota that I don't trust.
Sure.
Like, I still really... Mainly because they have 21 wins in regulation.
Yeah, they're definitely OT merchanting.
Yeah, they have 21 wins in regulation. The Avs have 34.
Yep.
That's a huge gap. When you're living on the margin that closely, like they're ignoring. They are 34-24 is their record right now, right?
Yep.
And they have a plus 27 goal differential. Like, that's nothing. That is nothing. They are teetering on the edge right there.
Yep.
Of if they lose even half of those games, we're not having this conversation. So they are like Dallas. I expect them to do something big. I expect them to do something splashy to try and get better. But I am not trusting that is the real them.
Sure.
They have taken advantage of the Avalanche. They've gotten back into shouting distance of the Avalanche. If the Avalanche win those 3 games that they have in hand, which is not unreasonable. Let's be real. It's not unreasonable to just say they win all 3.
I tried to be as fair as possible until they play 500.
You give them a 1-1-1 record. But if they win all 3 of those games, like we're talking about
11 points back, pretty much out of reach.
If you looked at a team that was in the wild card hunt and they were 11 points back, do you take them seriously?
No.
Do you take the St. Louis Blues seriously because they're 11 points back of Los Angeles?
No.
For the first team out of no, of course not. That's a huge gap. Especially when and it's even bigger when you talk about the teams that actually win games. Why those teams in the wild card spots are vulnerable is because they go through hot and cold stretches. They win a couple here, they lose a couple there. Oh, they've won 5 in a row. Great. Then they're going to drop 3. They give some of that ground back, right? Like the teams that win games, they might have a lull. The Avalanche have been in a lull. There's just no getting through that. They haven't even played that well. The games that they've won, you've been kind of blah about. But a 5-point lead, even if the Avs lose all 3 of those games, it's a 5-point lead.
Yep.
They have to be 3 games better than the Avs over the final, 25 games of the season? 24 games of the season? It's 24.
24.
Yeah. Let's say the Avs lose all 3 of those games that they have in hand. They have to be 5 points better than the Avs the rest of the way. Do you trust them to do that? Because 5 points doesn't sound like a lot, but it's 2.5 wins.
Yep.
And because the Avs there's no way the Avs lose that first tiebreaker with regulation wins. They have to be 3 wins better than the Avalanche. They can't tie them. They're going to have to get ahead of them.
Yep.
So they have to be 3 wins better than the Avalanche for the final 25 games. Do you trust that is going to happen?
I mean,
the Avalanche are also going to do something at the deadline. They are also going to get Devon Taves, Gabe Landeskog back, like for an actual extended period of time, barring Olympic injury. Martin Necas will most likely be back as well. Those aren't small losses to their team. They spent an entire month playing without Gabe Landeskog, whose on-ice importance we have talked about, but whose off-ice importance we have really talked about a lot this season, and a top-pairing defenseman. Even if he's no longer the world beater that he was 2 years ago, that's still their top-pairing defenseman. Yep. They've been living with Ilya Solovyov and Keaton Middleton and Jack Ashan playing a bunch of these minutes.
Right. They're going to be a better team on the other side of this Olympic break.
This is in chat. Great point from Toyota Chat here. Logan O'Connor sounds like he's actually progressing towards a return at some point.
Yep.
If it's the last 5 games of the season, it probably isn't going to be super meaningful. But if it's the last 15 games of the season, that's a really big deal.
Well,
that's a really big, that making the bottom of their lineup that much better, and you get out the Taylor McCarrs. No offense, I like him, but like Taylor McCarr or Logan O'Connor, 32 teams will take Logan O'Connor. Obviously.
So I just did the math on my calculator here. This was in the version where the Avs win all 3 of their games in hand. They win all 3 of their games in hand and have an 11-point lead with 24 games left in the season. If the Avalanche play 500 hockey through those 24 games, Minnesota would have to play 660 hockey to tie them. Minnesota's current points percentage is 672. So if the Avs convert on their games in hand, Minnesota would not have to be able to, or would have to keep up exactly their current pace of the entire season or better to catch the Avs. They cannot slip a single inch to catch the Avs if the Avs play 500 hockey, which the expectation is they're going to play better than that.
Yeah, if the Avs play 600 hockey, it's over.
Right. Pretty much anything above 500, and it's near impossible for a team to catch the Avs.
Yeah, frankly, if they play 600 hockey and you include the 3 extra games in hand, it's going to be very hard.
Yep.
5 points does not sound like a lot when you go, oh, well, that's only a week's worth of games. The Avs have to lose all of them, and then we go from there. Okay, the Avs lost all 3 of those games. They're still 5 points back.
Yep.
They gained no ground in that scenario.
Right. Look, the Avs are no stranger to that situation. The last couple of years, they've been the team chasing, and they know exactly how hard it is to make up that ground.
We saw it last year where it was like they were right there. They were 1 point behind Dallas, 2 points behind Dallas, but Dallas had 3 games in hand, and then as soon as those games in hand got used up,
it was done.
Yeah, it's what happens with good teams.
Yep.
Like we very likely have just watched the worst that the Avalanche will be this year.
Almost
over the last
certainly,
month.
Yeah. You know, barring crazy stuff, but
they got back within shouting distance because they've been great, because Minnesota and Dallas have both been great.
Yep.
But does that mean that any of us, I don't want to speak for everybody, man. I'm not sweating it.
Same. I am also unflapped.
I am also blown away by, like, Colorado and Dallas are the only teams out west that can win games in regulation.
Right. It's between Minnesota and Vegas, man.
It's we're looking at these standings. Utah's 64 points. They are 3rd in the West in regulation wins. What?
Vegas leads the Pacific with 26 wins.
In 56 games. They are 26-30, and they lead the division.
It's crazy. It's crazy out here. I did want to pivot here, and AJ, I am going to put you on the spot a little bit here. Because it's time for our Xfinity X Factor. AJ, what has been the biggest Avalanche X Factor in the season so far?
Oh my God, in the season?
Yep. The whole thing.
Give me goaltending. They are still leading the league in goals allowed. It's now down to 1. It was a big gap. But then they started allowing empty net goals left and right. And this appeared really fast. So give me goaltending. Both Scott Wedgwood and Mackenzie Blackwood have been great. Mackenzie Blackwood really, since returning from injury, it was like there was those first couple of games were a little shaky, but he's been sneaky really good.
We're not going to talk about that second Sharks goal, but sure.
But where are we at? He allowed 1 bad goal.
No, I know.
Yeah,
he gave up 2.
He plays it poorly.
Job done.
And the other one is a fluke bounce that no goaltender on earth.
That one is nonsense. Complete nonsense.
It's annoying when altitude is always like, goalie can't do anything about that. And you're like, yes, he can. Most of the time, yes, he can. That is no. It's a puck that hits a stick and then bounces twice off the ice and goes crazy. Like, no, you're not asking for a different. There's nothing a goalie does wrong there except not be able to have superhuman cat-like reflexes, right? And then the other one, he plays poorly. But that's it though. That's the end of it. There are no goals, no other goals against. And then he gave up 1 real goal against Detroit.
Yep.
On a play, he truly. What do you want him to do differently on that? Nothing.
Right. I was just being pedantic. He's been really good.
Totally. Like, he has been good, though. But even you go back in the Ottawa game, he gives up, 3 on 21?
Yeah.
He was good in that game.
Yep.
Like, since the Philadelphia travesty, he's been
Just
really
locked
good.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been really good. And you will live with, he wasn't great in this game for 6 games of excellence.
Yep. That's a good ratio. No doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it takes him a couple of games to get up to speed. Well, that makes you nervous in the postseason because you don't have a couple of games to get up to speed.
Yep.
But, yeah, give me goaltending as the main X factor for the season.
All right. I'm more than happy with that conversation. That was the Xfinity X Factor. Xfinity. Imagine that. Continuing through here. Colorado is an interesting team this year because the biggest conversation. Oh, look at. Ignore the power play for a second. Ignore it. The expectations for this team are so unbelievably high that you are watching the best team in the NHL and you still find yourself getting frustrated with them regularly because anything less than excellence is disappointing for them, right?
Is it not like the 2015 Broncos where every win, it wasn't fun? It was relief.
Every win is a relief, yeah.
Yeah. Where the expectations are high. The sense of urgency is at an all-time high. This has to happen now. The assets, like, the cap, everything else, like this, that team. It was obviously Peyton, and like Peyton wasn't even good that year.
Yeah,
the defense was so special, and you're looking at like the Avalanche are so deep. Yeah. They're so good. They're getting such a great year from their goaltenders, both of them. They're getting an MVP caliber season from Nathan McKinnon. Cale Makar was a Norris Trophy shoe-in
until he wasn't,
ago.
But
that's over now. But like it is, the expectations for them are astronomical. That every win you're just like, well, I expect them to do that.
Yep.
Great. They're the favorite in every game they go into. Every single game.
Not a single team in the NHL. They're the underdog against.
Yeah, they get everybody's best punch. They are everybody's in-season Super Bowl because they got off to the historic start. That's over. We're not talking about the 22-23 Bruins anymore. That's over. It just
Maybe
is
for the best.
Yeah, it's done. We don't have to mess around with that anymore. But it's a really, really, really good team.
Yep.
And it's been funny, even in their, it's not really funny. I've wanted to punch things, but even in their lull over the last month, they're competitive. They're in it.
Yeah.
There are very few games where they're just getting rocked beginning to end, and you're like, whoop.
Even some of the frustrating ones, like the Philly game, disaster third period, but it's not like they were out of that game.
The Ottawa game, where they never played well.
Yeah.
And they were down by 1 in the third period.
If that's your worst, you're doing all right. I don't need to watch that Detroit loss again, but
yeah.
Yeah. It's this weird clash in my head of like, of course I know the Avs are imperfect. They're a hockey team. Hockey's the dumbest sport. Stuff just happens in this game all the time.
Yeah.
And yet,
look at the first San Jose goal last night. It's a great example of like
absolute nonsense.
Okay.
You can't control that. And the Avs have done a pretty good job of controlling what they can control for the most part, even with some of their struggles as of late. And now you can bring back in the power play. It legitimately, if this segment is we just have nothing more to say about it, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, truly, it's bad.
Yep.
It's bad. Embarrassingly bad. It's actively hurting them. It's terrible. And what's I think even more frustrating than anything else is that like their first power play is usually pretty good, and then it doesn't score.
And the second one's fucking awful. Yeah.
Yeah. Then, like, for the rest of the game, every time they get a power play, you're like, do they know they have more players on the ice? What is happening? Like, you look at the loss against Detroit, where Detroit went even. They 2-2 shots on goal on the Avalanche power play. The Red Wings created more scoring chances against the Avs power play than the Avs created against their PK.
It's not uncommon that the best chance of an Avs power play is the other team's.
Yeah. We've already said they should have fired Dave Hextall. It should have already happened. They should be making major changes. They need to sit Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, like, bench these guys. And they did last night. They took Cale Makar-ish.
Not really, but yeah, they at least did something. Like, they tried a little bit.
Where they were like, Devon go out there and see what you can do. And you're like, okay. Like, Gavin Brindley, go out there and see what you can do. It wasn't anything.
It was not.
I say that. Gavin Brindley had their best scoring chance on the power play.
Yeah, well.
Like, they had a different look. They got a great chance. But Gavin Brindley really needed to score that. Like, he just did. He really, like, you create that chance. That's the one you're looking to create that they never do. They don't ever have easy goals on the power play.
Because they don't move their feet.
Right. I mean, there's no backdoor play. The cross ice stuff is so high up in the zone that when it gets intercepted, it goes the other way. And you're just like, okay, well, that sucks.
Look, a month or two into the season, we were saying, hey, if the Avs power play can get to league average, we'd be okay with it. Today, February 5th, we're sitting here saying, if the Avs power play cannot actively hurt them, just don't stop giving up shorthanded goals, and we'd be happier. Like,
it really has been like a disastrous 6 weeks in that regard.
Yep.
Because it was a bad power play before then, but then it stopped scoring and it started giving up shorthanded goals, like a lot of shorthanded goals.
Most in the league at 9.
And and it wasn't that way.
No.
Even 6 weeks ago, it wasn't that way. It just wasn't that bad.
Right.
It was still not scoring, but it wasn't bleeding. Like, you weren't losing goals on it.
Right.
And we've talked about how hard it is to win games strictly at 5v5. It's very hard.
Yes.
But then when you start, okay, now your PK is also not very good. And now
your special teams are murdering you at this point.
You're losing at least 1, maybe 2 goals. You don't have Devon Toews, you don't have Gabe Landeskog at the end there.
There are factors, of course.
You're not good enough at 5v5.
Yep.
To overcome that.
Yep.
You're just not good enough. Nobody is. Nobody is. You put any team down 2-0 on special teams, they're not going to win very many games. This is the biggest thing.
A-Wolf in the chat asking, is it possible MacKinnon is running the power play and that's the main reason why the power play is bad?
Yes, it has been that way from day one.
Well, so here's the interesting conversation there. Do I absolutely believe that Nathan MacKinnon is the real power play coach? Yes. Nathan MacKinnon has also had a power play north of 20% on the Colorado Avalanche. Like, this is not, it's not like the Avalanche has been bad on the power play for all of Nathan MacKinnon's superstardom. When Nathan MacKinnon was putting up 140 points in a season, the Avs were operating with a 24% power play. Like, they clearly are capable of a better power play than they are showing, regardless of who's running it. But it's just not there right now.
Yeah, and it stands to reason. What is it Dave Hextall's actually contributing? Your PK has gotten significantly worse. Your goaltending has bailed it out in the percentages, but it's bleeding chances in a way that it wasn't the first 2 months of the season.
What is he doing? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just asking. What is he doing?
We talked about this, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, and I said I was indifferent because I don't know that firing him fixes the power play. But what the office space, what do you do here is absolutely the question. If the power play is not getting better, if these supposed other areas that Dave Haxtell is helping the team in are degrading, what does he do?
He doesn't need to be on the bench to do those things.
Also true.
Whatever it is, he doesn't need to be on the bench. Get somebody on the bench that can actually help the league's worst power play.
Yep.
What?
One of the worst net power plays ever right now.
This is a little vindication for the two of us who are like, firing Ray Bennett isn't some magical elixir.
Yep.
Ray Bennett earned being fired because Cale Makar couldn't beat Jake Ottinger in a 7-game series. But like,
we have this conversation every year, right? Where firing the coach is just the easiest lever to pull.
Yeah, and obviously, like, no Mikko Rantanen is a huge difference. But it is also undeniable that at the end of the Rantanen era, the power play had started to be bad.
Also, like, the one semi-successful thing on your power play is Brock Nelson on that side shooting the puck. Like, that's the only thing that's actually worked this year.
Yeah. Worked for longer than like a week.
Yeah,
it lasted like 2 weeks.
There's nothing that's worked for that long, clearly, when you have a sub 10% net power play. Like,
it is interesting though because Cale Makar's shot rates are actually up.
Quality of those shots, though.
But his shots on goal are down, and you're like, there it is.
Yeah,
it's an important factor. So, yeah, and it's not even like I'm laying this on the feet of like Nathan MacKinnon. It's everybody.
Yeah,
all of them are doing it, and the stubbornness of MacKinnon doesn't help. Marty Necas and Nathan MacKinnon, the awkward fit isn't helping. Cale Makar not being a real, genuine scoring threat on the power play isn't helping.
Yep.
Like, all of those things together. Brock Nelson can't be your best player on the power play.
Brock Nelson's your best power play scorer for the majority of the season, and you're looking at Nathan MacKinnon and Marty Necas, regardless of stubbornness, two guys that tend to get stuck in the rut of refusing to actually shoot the puck when you're supposed to.
Yeah.
You combine that with other rotating pieces of Arturi Lehkonen is who he is. He's going to whiff on a ton of those bumper chances that Nathan MacKinnon sets him up with. That's just part of the deal. Someone like a Val Nichushkin has not had that scoring impact that we've seen from him in previous years. Not that he's not playing well, not that he didn't play great the other night, but 3 assists, no goals. And his goal total is riding off of a New Year's Eve hat trick more than anything else. Like, you haven't got that consistent finishing.
He's got one goal. Nichushkin has one goal since New Year's Eve.
Yeah, in a month, over a month.
He's a lot of assists at least. Like he's
not saying he's playing bad, but the power play is about putting the puck in the back of the net at a certain point.
Right.
And all of the guys on the Avs power play aren't doing it.
It's obviously exacerbated because Makar went from 12 power play goals last year to 2 this year.
Yep.
That's a huge drop off. A huge drop. And the 12 was like easily a career high.
Yeah.
But he's been in that like 5 to 9 range. Like,
right. Get to 6, 7, 8.
In that area. Yeah. There's still time.
He's on pace for 3.
The power. Woo! You want to know why he's nowhere near the 30-goal pace? Why he's getting outscored by a bunch of other defensemen?
That's why.
The power play, it's killing him right now.
Yeah.
And he's killing it.
Yeah, true. No arguments. All right, we got one super chat to get to here, and then we can wind down the show for the day. $7 from Benny, who says, "Hey, Rudo, will you be going to Italy to watch any of the Olympic Games in person?" I wish, buddy. I would love to go, but they don't pay me enough, and we don't make enough to send anybody to Italy. So,
also, don't be a hater. You know you're really excited about very early morning watch-alongs with me on grainy feeds where we're just trying to sync up whatever we're watching together.
Yeah, I'd been more excited if you picked more 4 a.m. games. That's my space. The 8:40 game is like my dead zone.
Well, I mostly was just looking for competitive games or abs games.
I know.
Really all it was. It didn't help, or it did not hurt that for me. I'm like, 8:40 is not that bad.
Yeah, it's 10:40 for you.
Exactly. It's fine for me. I'm like, okay, I'm up. Anyway, we are excited for Olympic coverage. It is going to be fun.
No, I'm actually stoked. I was up last night watching in curling and the women's hockey, but
yeah, I keep joking with the girl. I'm like, "Oh, which Olympic sports are you going to get into with me?" She's like, "What are my options?" I'm like, "Curling." She's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "This one where you can ski and shoot a gun." And she's like, "What's that?"
Biathlon, baby.
I'm like the ones where you just go down like bobsled, except it's just two people or it's one person and they're on a tiny little thing. And she's, "What's that?" It's so funny. I'm so excited to get it. And like, this is one of the beauty, one of the most beautiful parts of the Olympics is being exposed to different sports that you don't get to see as often.
Yes, one of my favorite things, especially with our presenting sponsor, Bet365.
And then also NHLers are going to be there, so that rocks.
Yeah, it's going to hit February 11th, and I'm going to be like, there are other sports at the Olympics? Huh?
Yeah.
I'm good, AJ. Any final thoughts on the Avs through 55 games?
They're pretty good. Relax, guys. They're good. I don't want to say relax. Just remember that this is supposed to be a little bit of fun.
On occasion. We're going to wrap it up there. We will be back tomorrow. I think we're doing a mailbag show, so keep an eye out on Twitter. We'll ask for questions or, come in chat ready to ask questions tomorrow. So do that. We'll answer all of your hard-hitting questions. Will you have hard-hitting questions, or will you guys ask nonsense? I don't know. It's 50-50 with you guys sometimes.
Trade deadline questions.
I do pick them, but usually I just pick as many of them as I can. So we're out of here. We appreciate all y'all. We'll be back tomorrow, like I said, with the mailbag show. We hope to see you there. This has been the DNVR Avalanche Podcast presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.